ladies and gentlemen, about Natalie Williams as a candidate for Ward 8 City Council. This is about our ANC and civic leaders being left out. This is about our council member being checked out, and some might even say bought out. And this is about, I'm sad to tell you this is about a community which is continuously being left out. Enough is enough. This is not about being misguided or off point. How dare he even suggest that we don't understand what we are doing here today. Somebody please say, shame on you, Barry.
Shame on you, Barry.
Good morning, Ward 8.
Good morning.
I want to thank you so much for being here this morning and for caring enough about our community in spite of the cold, in spite of the early morning wake-up call, in spite of the different neighborhoods that you represent here today, in spite of your political affiliations and your candidates of choice, in spite of what has already seemingly been determined for us but without us, in spite of everything, Ward 8, you are here, and I say thank you. I stand before you in pure outrage over the oversaturation of shelters and social service programs in our ward. And here in particular today to the plans for the so-called Good Hope Kitchen. In case you haven't heard, this location, ladies and gentlemen, is scheduled to be yet another homeless shelter in our ward. As if Ward 8 doesn't already have its fair share of shelters and social services. For the record, we don't need a kitchen to provide us with hope. We need jobs. We need affordable housing. We need better schools. We need safer streets. We need a cohesiveness of our ward. We need an elevation in the mindsets of the residents. In my world, there are facts, and in my world, there are truths. Facts, be it things that one cannot argue or debate. If it happened, it happened. Truths, be it the conclusion that folks individually or collectively reach based on the facts that have been presented. Are you with me? Somebody say, go ahead.
Go ahead.
For example, fact, I am a new resident here in Ward 8 with a new address. But also fact, I am not new to the history of this ward, to the challenges of this ward, and the work of our ward, or to the inner workings of DC City Council where things get done. The truth of the matter is, I care about this ward. I care about its people, and I care about its future. I am a resident of the ward with a heart full of compassion and a heart full of determination to make it better than it is today. So with that said, please bear with me for a moment as I remind some of you and educate others about the facts and then the unfortunate truths of this precious little area we call Anacostia as it pertains to why we're here today. Fact. Over the years, the Anacostia Business District has been promised by several mayoral administrations to be revitalized and redeveloped. That has never been accomplished. Fact, when the Anacostia Metro Station was first proposed in the 70s, the stop was supposed to be at the foot of Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue and Good Hope Road. Prince George's County's indecision delayed our station. And then when they did decide where to put it, they put it at Howard Road and Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, thus squashing the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations of the residents and businesses along this corridor. Fact, in 1986, when the Reagan administration began to recognize the issue of homelessness in our nation's capital, it was the Anacostia community that supported a 600-bed homeless shelter for men and the development of transitional housing to be placed across the city, with one of those homes being a home for the homeless veterans. It was Anacostia that led the way in demonstrating community support. Fact, over the years, the Anacostia community has continued to be asked to house many social, medical, and drug treatment programs. And we have a council member and understand. Take a look at Congress Heights community. We already know the type of added attractions that these facilities will bring. Behind me, you can see exactly how many social service programs we have in Ward 8 already. Certainly, we have enough programs that can be of service to our community if we invest in them. Fact. So here we are at present day, and yet Ward 8, Anacostia, is the recipient of yet another social service program. As it pertains to this project, while I think it's worth applauding the long-standing work of Calvary over the years, I am most concerned about whether it is for the good and advancement of the community as a whole. Our council member, bless his heart, has flip-flopped on his position and is now in support of this shelter. He has even gone as far as to say that he has been working with the community on this issue for the past 3 months. The question we need to ask him today is what community?
Right.
Somebody here please say, what community?
What community?
Because from all accounts, the leaders of this community say they have been left out of the loop. Not just left out of the loop, but disrespected by Calvary, not even responding to their requests for a simple dialogue, a simple conversation, a simple information session. Let me hear your concerns session. What do you think session? It's your community, give us some insight session. Absolutely nothing. Somebody say absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, has been going on for months. Now we just recently learned over the past couple of days that Calvary has decided to appease us by finally agreeing to meet under specific conditions in the new year. This after repeated requests for months by our community leaders. Now, on yesterday, our council members sent out a rather colorful email opposing today's rally. But to me, it seemed more about bashing me personally as a viable candidate, which, by the way, was done with government resources. Somebody say, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
And which was in total contradiction to what he had said about me publicly over the years, and most recently, my residency, that it does not matter how long I've been here. Certainly, ladies and gentlemen, our council member has better things to focus on in a ward where, in his words, is the last, the lost, the forgotten, the ghetto. Oops. His words, not mine. I even tried to help him. Now, back to the facts and back to the truth. The truth of the matter is, this is not, ladies and gentlemen, about Natalie Williams as a candidate for Ward 8 City Council. This is about our ANC and civic leaders being left out. This is about our council member being checked out, and some might even say bought out. And this is about, I'm sad to tell you this is about a community which is continuously being left assed out. Enough is enough. This is not about being misguided or off point. How dare he even suggest that we don't understand what we are doing here today. Somebody please say, shame on you, Barry.
Shame on you, Barry.
This is about the gateway into Anacostia. This is about seeing our ward at its very best. This is about serving as a leader with your constituents in the forefront of your minds and not on your behind. The last time I checked, public officials are elected to represent the desires of their community. If Councilmember Barry has been privy to information that we as a community don't have, which makes him think that Calvary and other services such as this is a good fit, by all means share it with us. But in 4 months, he hasn't said anything. Somebody please say, that ain't right. That ain't right. The question today is, where are the people coming from who are getting these jobs that Calvary and our councilmen are so proudly boasting about? Are they Ward 8 residents? We have enough women right here in Ward 8 who need jobs. jobs, who need food, who need shelter. So now you're telling me that they too have to continue to compete with women from the entire District of Columbia, from Maryland, from Virginia? Somebody say, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
When does the government, the private sector, and the residents of our community come together and say, no more social services, no more entities that do not contribute to the tax base of our community, no more shelters, no more feel-good approaches to providing non-tangible benefits to our residents and businesses in our community? While there might be a need for this type of service that Calvary offers, they should look at other places to house their programs and efforts. And if it has to be in our ward, then certainly it should not be on our main corridor. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a matter of survival for Ward 8 in general and for Anacostia in particular. And since they like Anacostia and Ward 8 so very much, they should be willing to build affordable housing with retail on the site. Change the plans of this project. Change the plans of this project to include a business at the bottom level. Something that is beneficial to our community. I think we could get behind this. It's time to turn Anacostia into the business corridor we have all dreamed about and that once was a very vibrant place in the life of this community. Fellow residents of Ward 8, we need to organize against such things that do not benefit our community and the vision that we have for our community. I, Natalie Williams, stand front and center, ready to take on the status quo, ready to take on institutional entitlement, ready to take on the big bullies in the room, ready to take on the threats that are already coming my way, ready to be the cast out. The question is, how many other Ward 8 leaders here today and those who are not present here today are ready to do the same thing? As they do say in the church, look at your neighbor and say, are you ready? In closing, there are a few questions that I want to leave on your hearts and minds. With a full-time, four-term mayor and current councilman living in our ward, why doesn't our ward already look better than what it does? Ward 6 does. With a full-time, four-term mayor and current councilman living in our ward, why don't we have better schools and improved recreation centers? Ward 4 does.
Right.
With a full-time, four-term mayor and current councilman living in our ward, why can't we have better, safer streets? With a full-time, four-term mayor and current councilman living in our ward, why can't we have better restaurants and entertainment facilities in our ward? Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. The truth of the matter is, some of the powers that be like it this way.
Right.
By keeping it this way, by controlling the way we think, by giving us little handouts once a year and making us believe that it's so great, we keep them in charge. And they keep us right where they want us.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be that way, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to be that way. We have the power to change this together. And in order to do so, we have to stop all the infighting. We have to stop all the hating. We have to support each other and choose leaders that our community can fully back and a leader that will have the community's back. If this doesn't work, then let us take this down to the national office of Calvary, which is right across this bridge, and demand some answers. Let us go down to the council building and wait and wait and wait until they understand that the residents of Ward 8 are united, we are organized, and no longer are we going to take what you are handing out to us. I am standing front and center. Will you join me? Will you join me?
Yeah.
Will you join me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ward 8. Thank you, Ward 8. Thank you, Ward 8.